What's going on, Mutha Truckers? Welcome to Mutha Trucker News emails at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. Got a lot of truck drivers from California emailing us about this one right here. You know, last night, actually around 12:22, there was a fire. And when I say a fire, we're talking over 100 firefighters fighting this fire. Right. And it gets to the point where the governor has to declare a state of emergency. The president is actually coming down. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do about this, but a portion of the 10 freeway is closed. I-10 will be fully closed until further notice between East LA Connector and Alameda Street due to a fire that damaged the freeway. Avoid the area, expect major delays, and seek alternate routes to events or use the Metro Los Angeles public transportation. Now, when I say this area on the I-10, I'm going to show a map of this here. This might not look that big to people that don't know anything about California and the I-10 area there, but I'm talking about over 300,000 vehicles use this highway a day. So this morning when this happened, I'm talking about just thousands and thousands upon thousands of vehicles, semi-trucks, cars, four-wheelers, you name them, were just stuck in traffic for hours. So definitely if you're around this area, you definitely need to detour. The fire was first reported at 12:22 a.m. in the 1700 block of East 14th Street, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. It was eventually go on to burn 8 acres. First storage yard was 40,000 square feet and was fully involved with flames that engulfed multiple trailers, the fire department said. Right. The flames spread to a storage yard of similar size between Lawrence and Edwood Streets and consumed a fire engine that became stuck in their path. So this fire is crazy. When we're talking about really closing down a major highway, this is so bad that they had to declare a state of emergency. You know, let's hear here where Governor Gavin Newsom, regardless if you like him or not, he's going to tell you something about what's going on here. And so we have all the information here for you at Mutha Trucker News.
And thank you, Madam Chief, to all our state and local representatives. Thank you for this opportunity to update you on the state's now responsibility to answer the question we're all asking. When the hell is this going to get reopened? That is being assessed in real time. When I say real time, we quite literally just left an hour or so ago the site. As we walked out, our teams walked in, hazmat teams, as well as the investigation teams led by CAL FIRE to determine the cause. Remember, this is an investigation as to the cause of how this fire occurred, as well as a hazmat and structural engineering question. Those are the primary responsibilities now that Caltrans and our team face as we move to address the immediate questions. That said, the second question we all want to answer is, when can we reopen this structure? And that question will be determined on the basis of safety, and that will be determined over the course of the next many hours as the structural engineers working with our fire investigators assess the specific damage. You can see physically from your own eyes the damage to the columns, dozens and dozens of columns. We haven't counted the entire number of columns, but you're getting closer to 100 or so columns, 400 plus feet of the structure that's been impacted. What appears on the outside to be problematic may not be the real problem. It's what lies underneath, and that's the bridge deck, and that's the primary focus now of our investigation, is getting into the bridge deck, looking at some of the wood structure that is part of that bridge deck in that center part, and determine, we believe a lot of that did burn, how that may have impacted that structure. Columns are a problem, but our ability to rebuild that is a much shorter time period than the bridge deck itself. So that's fundamentally the question that has to be determined and answered, is the impact of the bridge deck vis-a-vis the columns themselves in terms of timelines to reopen. Can you open a few lanes? Can you retrofit the columns? Is the bridge deck intact to allow for a few lanes to remain open? Again, has to be assessed on that basis of that investigation. Here's a timeline that's important. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, unless something significant occurs, we will complete the investigation as it relates to the origins of the fire. As I said, the teams quite literally are on the site right now. The structural work is being done concurrently, but they'll get in once that investigation is completely closed more forcefully to make a deeper assessment. The hazmat problems are real, and as a consequence, we're taking that seriously as it relates to debris removal before our contracting crews get in. Let's make a couple things clear. This is one of those heaven and earth moments. As the mayor rightfully said, this is a 24/7 operation, period, full stop. We are deeply mindful of Northridge in 1994, deeply mindful of the contracting strategies there. Invariably, you'll ask, will you consider contracts that provide incentives? That's being determined in real time. What will those incentives be? That's being determined in real time. What are the economic consequences of this, the impacts? That's being determined in real time. You'll recall the bonuses that were assessed in Northridge were on the basis day in and day out of the daily economic costs to the region. We can certainly assess they'll be substantially greater than they were in 1994. 300,000+ vehicles go through this corridor every single day. It's of significant consequence to the economy, to the health and safety of Angelenos, the impact to our schools, to vulnerable communities, all of that we take very seriously, and we're sober and mindful of the urgency to get this open. It's safety first, it's speed second. The contracting issues are not an issue any longer. That state of emergency waives any consideration in that space for the short run. We already have a contract secured. They're on site, the hazmat contract. It also includes some security. It also includes some traffic mitigation. They're already contracted. They're already on site. The ability now with the state of emergency to work hand in glove with the Federal Highway Administration also has been advanced. And I want to thank, as the mayor did, Secretary Buttigieg, the White House, for reaching out. As you know, the President of the United States will be in California within 48 hours. That's encouraging as well. The White House has appropriately taken this as seriously as it needs to be taken because of the economic consequences and the size and scope and scale of this incident. As it relates to size, scope, and scale, we're also not naive. A more contemporary example of the I-95 in Philadelphia, the great work that was done by my friend Governor Shapiro and the building constructions unions and others that were hand in glove in that operation. Again, another 24/7 operation. We're mindful of the best practices that were advanced in that effort, and we will be advancing similar best practices as it relates to our efforts here, informed by their experience. But I will say this, that is different. I won't say is daylight and darkness, but don't compare the two. The scale of this is substantially greater. The question is the damage substantially more problematic, again being assessed in real time. So there are no rules and regulations that are hindrances to moving this operation forward. There will be none. Contracts are already in place, and let me double down on that. As a proof point, we've already identified 2 million pounds of steel that is available to move in real time. So the supply chain issue specific to steel is not an impediment in the short term. We're already assessing the broader supply chain questions, again, in a worst case scenario as it relates to this incident. And finally, on the incident itself, I am intimately familiar with this site. Some of you may know that as well because you were with us when we did a large-scale encampment cleanup right on this site in August of last year. I personally participated in that. It was not a press conference. We were there actually doing the work of cleaning up this site. Thousands of sites across this state in the last year and a half have been prioritized with Caltrans. I am very mindful of the thousands that remain to be cleaned up all across this state. But as you know well from the multiple times we've been down here, we invested $750 million in partnership with the legislative leaders here on encampment cleanup grants, working with the cities and counties and taking direct responsibility with Caltrans. and they've been hitting and exceeding their numeric goals. We have a lot more work to do. That said, I'm mindful of the encampments in and around that site we cleaned up, and also mindful of those broader concerns around who is leasing these sites. And are they being monitored? Are they being held accountable? And the answer specifically on this site is yes. In fact, we're in litigation with the lessee. In fact, our inspectors have been out there on a consistent basis with citations. Their lease is expired. They're in arrears. We believe they've been subleasing the space. And we actually have a court date in early part of the new calendar year. More on that, because I imagine you'll be drawing down with more interest in that. More on that, and we will make it available in real time. But again, in a litigation posture, I want to be careful. But this is a site we're aware of, and this was a lessee that we're aware of that was in violation. The issues around encampments in this area, again, for over a year have been focused of a priority, recognizing there's still a lot of work in and around that area to address other encampments, large and small. So again, across the spectrum, top priority, all of government approach, nothing more important, period, full stop. Let me make this crystal clear. Nothing more important for our administration, our collective administrations, and nothing, no daylight whatsoever is separating Mayor Bass and her team from our team. The answer is yes. I don't even care what the question is. The answer is yes, in terms of what her needs are, what the county needs are, and I have all the confidence in the world, because this is not our first challenge, as the mayor rightfully posed, that the White House approach will be consistent with that as well. So 24/7, 7 days a week until this gets done. But please, please give us the opportunity to get this investigation done, which will be done by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, potentially earlier. As soon as is, we will announce whatever appropriately can be announced under the circumstances. We will provide you in real time more information on the lessee and the investigations and the litigation posture, and we will let you know more about the emergency contracts and let you know more about the contracting provisions that we will advance in the medium and long term. And yes, you'll be told on a consistent basis by a team of experts, the routes and the rerouting and the logistical challenges in this city and around the region. But again, I couldn't be more pleased